Welcome to our esteemed speakers and participants. Thank you for taking out the time to join us for the figures of International Breweries PLC. My name is Loretta, and I'll be your moderator for today's webinar. We're pleased that you could take the time to join us for today's webinar, despite your busy schedules. Before we get into the program of events, I'd like to share a few housekeeping notes to ensure that we get the best of the session. Please note that the event will run for an hour and we'll do our best to stick within that time frame. For our speakers, please remember to keep your microphone muted throughout the session, except if you're invited to make a contribution. For attendees, we encourage your active participation in this session and via the chat box on your screen. If you have any questions at any point during the webinar, kindly type them using the Q&A feature on your screen, and our team will do their best to answer them or hold them for the appropriate Q&A session towards the end of this webinar. Please note that the recorded version of this webinar will be available on our NGX YouTube channel. We look forward to an engaging session today. The welcome address will be delivered by Mr. Olumide Bolumole, Divisional Head, Listings Business, Nigerian Exchange Limited. His welcome remarks will be followed by a presentation from Mr. Hugo Rocha, the Managing Director, International Breweries PLC, and will be joined by the Finance Director, Mr. Bruno Zambrano. Please remember to share any questions you may have on the presentation via the Q&A feature on your screen. Thank you once again for joining us for this session. I will now turn over to Mr. Bolumole for his opening remarks. Over to you, Mr. Bolumole.
Thank you so much, Loretta, and good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to today's Facts Behind the Figures presentation of International Breweries PLC. On behalf of the board and management of the Nigerian Exchange and the entire capital market community, I commend the management of International Breweries for partaking in today's event, and especially congratulate them following the recently concluded 50th anniversary celebration. It is without a doubt a testament to the company's longevity and impact in various sectors of the community and the commitment towards the sustained growth of this reputable brand. We're particularly pleased that the International Breweries has chosen to use this platform to increase its engagement with the capital market community, as the foundation of an effective and viable capital market lies in timely and relevant information. The exchange encourages all issuer interactions with market participants via this Facts Behind the Figures event. Since its establishment in December 1971 and its subsequent listing on the exchange in 1995, International Breweries has made abundant contributions to the socioeconomic development of its operating communities. The company's great brands, Trophy, Hero, Budweiser, and others, have grown to become household names and indeed continue to establish the company's footprints as a leading company in the Nigerian brewery industry. The exchange recognizes the efforts being made by the board and management towards youth empowerment and the consequent economic development of the nation. We commend the company on the exemplary Kickstart initiative, which recently gave out grants totaling 60 million naira cash to 50 young Nigerian entrepreneurs across the nation, as well as training, mentoring, and ancillary costs worth another 40 million naira to other teaming youths. This corporate social investment scheme, initiated by the CSR arm of the company, the International Breweries Foundation, is an avenue to bridge the unemployment gap by bringing the goals and ambitions of millions of talented and enterprising youth in Nigeria to life. It is also noteworthy that in the past 6 years, the foundation has awarded close to 400 million naira in grants to approximately 800 beneficiaries and trained close to 1,200 youths on entrepreneurship skills. At the Nigerian Exchange Limited, we remain committed to helping issuers derive great value from their interaction with the market. By positioning ourselves as the African exchange of choice, we will continue to adopt rules aimed at improving the corporate governance of our listed firms and offer products and services that are tailored to the needs of investors in a fair and orderly market. With the fast-changing macroeconomic environment in Nigeria and globally, we encourage International Breweries PLC to continue to strive for sustainability by adhering to higher standards of corporate governance, higher regulatory compliance, thus leading to greater returns for shareholders. We applaud your efforts as good corporate citizens and urge you to continue in your established history of social impact, supporting job creation. We thank you, our guests, for your presence today and encourage you to participate fully during this interactive session. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to now invite International Breweries PLC to make their presentation.
Mr. Bolumoli, thank you very much for the kind words.
You're most welcome, Mr. Ocha. Over to you, sir.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone, our friends here, colleagues, stakeholders. Thank you again, Mr. Bolumoli, Loretta. I think we can project the presentation. In the meantime, let me seize this opportunity to introduce myself. So my name is Hugo Rocha. I joined this company, this amazing company, 26 years ago. And after different countries, started in Brazil in sales, and then moved to HR, Dominican Republic, having the opportunity to do the integration with Presidente in Dominican Republic as a general manager there. And then I moved to China, in charge of our expansion in China. Very interesting experience. After China, moved to Colombia, in charge of Colombia, Peru, and Ecuador for our integration with SAB Miller. After that, moved to Argentina, back to HR. South Africa, in charge of commercial projects, and then finally here in this amazing country in Nigeria, helping to build our dream here. So this is the summary. But okay, so the idea for today is to, so thank you again for this great opportunity to have a chance to share with you our view, some colors about our strategy here. And I hope to give you the best answers for your questions as well. So let me start with I think we can have a better projection here of the presentation, maybe, if it's possible, hiding the, yeah. I think the view of the presentation is not the best one, but okay, let's go. Just some overall information here about our company in Nigeria. So we have been listed since 1995 in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Yes, thank you very much. And we are among the top 20 most capitalized companies on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. We are also proudly part of the BeamBev group, remembering that this is our biggest brewery in the world. We have here in the country 4 breweries in Ilesha, Osun State, also in River State, Port Harcourt, Anambra State in Onitsha, in the what we call the state-of-the-art brewery in Gateway. I'm going to talk about this in the next slide. Some of our, we play in the larger beer segment, all the segments here, basically premium, stout, and also in malt segment with Budweiser, Trophy, Hero, Castle Light, Eagle. Also recently, Trophy Stout in the segment of Stout and Eagle Stout. Beta Malt and Grand Malt in the malt segment. And some of the awards that we are very proud of, most Come back one slide, please. Come back one slide. Yeah. One slide back, please. Some of the awards that we are very proud of, most outstanding employee engagement strategy from HR Magazine, and also some awards for our brands. Talking about our revenue highlights here, year over year, our revenue growth is on a strong volume growth and price mix and innovation. And I think Bruno is going to have opportunity to talk about that, also the bit in the positive side. I think now we can move to the next slide, please. So just a little bit of our history here in Nigeria. As we know, but I'd like to highlight that we are celebrating our 50 years in the country. So we started back there in 1971. Also, important point in our history was when you arrived here with ABI in 2016, and the launch of our state-of-the-art brewery in Gateway in 2018, the most modern brewery in the sub-Saharan region, that's in Shagamu Gateway. I think these are the main points. Talking about our team here, Red talked about my time in the company. So we have, in our opinion here, a great team, but I'd like to highlight the pillars of our people is an important pillar for us. And besides the engagement as one important KPI, we also have the development of local talents here. I believe we have great people in Nigeria. And our expats here, they have basically two main roles. One is to implement the culture, and the second one is to develop our local talents to replace them in the short future. And we already have many great examples here. And also the diversity and inclusion, gender, as you can see, we know that we still have a gap here, but we're working hard to close these gaps. And as you can see, we have great examples of gender and a very diverse team, and that we are very proud of. All right, I think we can move. Let's go to the next slide, please. No, if it's yes. So, all right, I'm gonna have to talk about our portfolio here. We believe we have a great portfolio in Nigeria. We are building also the portfolio of the future. But let's go firstly to see how you see the macroeconomics and how we're gonna play in with our strategy here. You can move, please, Loretta. Okay, let's talk about the operating environment. As everybody knows, let's say that last year has been very tough to operate here due to the pandemic and the situation of the oil prices and everything. But we see some kind of recovery, mainly for food and beverage. Also, the inflation, we achieved the peak here. So it's not talking about any news, so it's not been easy. But again, we see that in the last quarters here, we see some recovery, and then we believe that we're gonna have a chance to catch up. Next slide. Also, all the situation about FX volatility, and also the scarcity of forex. It's been not just for us, but for the whole industry. It's been a challenge. But what's good, and we can move to the next slide, is that we are not here for 1 year or two. We are playing here for the next 100 years and plus. And we believe in the fundamentals of the country that are still very compelling. So due to the population, young population, very connected, very digital, the rhythm of the urbanization here. So we know that the current situation is not easy for anybody, but we believe that Nigeria is a great place to keep betting and to build our dream here due to these great fundamentals that we have here in the country. So basically, not be easy, but very excited about the future. As you can see here, Nigeria has a great projection about population with these young people with great energy and so on. And how to play, basically this is the summary of our strategy here in Nigeria. We used to say that we believe we have a winning strategy here based in the core expansion. This is the first pillar. Portfolio of the future. So we have a great portfolio in Nigeria, but we see the opportunity to build the portfolio of the future as well. Route to market aligned with the right technology. It's the important pillar as well. It's an important pillar as well to keep growing the country, to keep expanding. Come back one slide, please. One slide back. The fourth one is about operational excellence, when we can deliver efficiency. That's important for our business here. We believe that every year we can do better, reducing the costs in our operation and putting the money in our brands and people. And finally, the power and the energy of our people with the engagement, development of the local talents. So basically, that's the summary of our strategy. Let's move to the next one, please. Next slide, please. And here, just a little bit about our brands. So Budweiser, as we call the king of beers, this is the fastest growing premium beer in Nigeria in 2021. So it's a brand that we believe fits very well to Nigeria market. Trophy Stout is our latest launch that we launched during the pandemic and doing according to our expectations. Also have Trophy, the most loved beer and leading beer brand in the mainstream segment in Nigeria. Hero play in Southeast, and it's a very relevant brand as well, very beloved brand, talking about the Igbo Proud and so on. So these are the main brands of our portfolio. Talk a little bit about our core expansion. So we believe that Trophy Hero, they still have, according to the act, the possibility to grow in regions. So we do it in a very organized way, based on what we call the stage approach. So we go to each market with a very defined strategy with these brands. Depending on the market, we have a different strategy in terms of route to market, trade market execution, and so on. I think we can move, please. Budweiser. Next year, we're going to have the World Cup here, but besides the World Cup, we have very powerful assets for this brand, as Messi, PL, La Liga, and as I mentioned before, World Cup next year with Budweiser is going to be I believe it's a great year for Budweiser, in a very good momentum for the brand. All right, can move, please. And then we launched Trophy Stout in the year of pandemic in a very important segment here in Nigeria with very unique platforms in a very mature premium in the stout lovers, talking about live music, international stout day, and so on. And we are very happy with the results of the brand. As I mentioned before, in route to market here, basically have the distribution expansion and the capabilities of our distributors. These are important pillars for us. So how to expand, where to go with the right capabilities, driving the distributors with the right capabilities, and also the direct distribution using the last mile delivery, but with technology to integrate all the players in the market. So it's super important pillar for us. It's the route to market and technology. Also part of this route to market pillar, we have the trade execution. And for that, we use technology. We created here in Nigeria, using these digital minds that you have in the country, digital cell, providing some kind of solutions for the market. And then one of them is the image recognition that you have here. And this kind of tool, we are kind of exporting for the whole world, but to us initially created here in Nigeria, helping us to have visibility about our execution. The last pillars, how to integrate, as I mentioned before, all the players in the market using some kind of B2B solution. That's our global platform, and we are ready on this way. Thank you. I think we can move. Okay, talking about our sustainability efforts. It was mentioned before, but we have very strong pillars and very well-defined pillars as smart agriculture, water stewardship, circular packaging, climate action, and smart drinking. And we used to say that if you go, we go bold. We don't believe that we can do everything, but when you define some kind of these pillars, and we have here some words about that, we go big and bold to make some kind of difference. And also, what's fundamental for our business, and we think about that every day, is how to support our communities, since we are part of the communities. Just remember that we are part of ABI, but our consumers, they are in Nigeria, our customers, they are from Nigeria, our suppliers, they are in Nigeria. So when the communities suffer, we suffer. When they succeed, the communities succeed, we celebrate. And then health, education, infrastructure, and as it was mentioned before, the youth empowerment with Kickstart. We are very proud of this program to invest in our youth here. We believe that a way not just financing them, but mentoring, training, and we are very proud of this program that's Kickstart, invest in our youth and supporting the society and the transformation of the nation for the future. Some of the examples here. I think I can move to the next slide. This is just one example of the smart drinking. When you celebrate the Global Road Safety Week, providing information, billboards, investing, reaching over more than 10 million consumers, provide information about how to consume alcohol safely, avoiding drinking and driving, and so on. So just some pictures and colors about that. We take it very seriously, very aligned with our global guidance. Okay. I think now we can move. Now I'm going to hand to Bruno. Bruno's going to give you some colors about our numbers. So Bruno, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Hugo. Good afternoon to everyone. Bruno Zambrano. I'm the Finance Director of International Breweries. This quarter was a very positive quarter for the business. In terms of revenue, we grew above 30%, mainly driven by a strong volume performance, but also with an opportunity to have a price. We had a pricing initiatives throughout our portfolio, both in beer and malts, and in our SKUs, bottles and cans as well. In addition, our share of premium brands was higher in this quarter than before. And we had a very, very good discount optimization approach that allow us to achieve these results with significant less discount than in the past, both in the quarter and year to date, with both of historicals, for example, being growing even more than from pre-pandemic levels. If we can go to the next slide, please. In addition to revenue, we also had a benefit in gross profit, with our gross profit in the quarter almost doubling, not only in nominal terms, but also in margin, with an increase of more than 1,000 basis points in our gross margin. This was driven, obviously, by the growth in revenue, but also by controlling our cost, especially our cost of sales in the quarter grew less than our inflation rate. And margins increasing, obviously, from 17%, 16.9% to 27% in the quarter. Year to date, from 16% to almost 22%. Next. We have been also doing a very good job with a stringent cost controls. Our operating expenditures reduced from 2 years ago, representing more than 40% of our revenue, to 26% during Q3. This has been obviously the implementation of our ZBB methodology that is well known throughout AB InBev, but also looking at every opportunity during the last couple of years. We have been also looking at our marketing investments as a percentage of revenue, but making sure that the return on investments in sales and in advertising and promotion and marketing activities give us a return on investments as we are expecting. These stringent controls assisted us in generating a profit for the period. Next slide, please. Also, an important aspect of the last 2 years have been our focus in working capital. No, one slide back, please. Our focus in working capital. And I want to talk about our trade receivables. Our trade receivables, we have implemented some policies and some credit management that have allowed us today not only to have lower credit to our distributors, but in terms of payment terms, today close to 96%. 96% of the credit that we give is within current terms. This has been the historical best through the company. In addition, this credit, the amount of customers that now today are paying cash in advance, is the highest we have ever had in our history, allowing us to have these working capital benefits that show the positive cash flow in operating activities, with almost doubling it from Q3 of 2020. Next. So next slide, please. Next slide. So to summarize, our key takeaways of today is: one, our outlook and our company both are positive despite its challenges. We are still investing, building our brands, and building a sustainable and profitable business for the long term. Here we need to be cautious on, here we are cautious with the macroeconomic environment, plus the government's implementations of any type of increase in excise. We have great core brands. As mentioned by Hugo, our 2 core brands are the leading brands in the country. We have access to winning global portfolio, premium portfolio with our Budweiser, the king of beers, and we're implementing a deliberate route to market to propel us into the future. Our operational excellence, not only allowing us to control our cost, but also to invest in volume creative investments. And as we believe, our culture provides great training and growth potential for our employees. As we like to say, we dream big to create a future with more cheers. Thank you. I think we have now Olomide and Loretta an opportunity for
the questions, right?
All right.
Some questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we have just listened to the facts behind the figures presentation from International Breweries PLC as delivered by Mr. Hugo Rocha, the Managing Director, and Mr. Bruno Zambrano, Finance Director. Thank you to our presenters for your detailed presentation. And to all our attendees, thank you for your questions so far. As we proceed into the Q&A session, I'd like to encourage you to share your questions via the Q&A feature. So without further delay, let's get into the Q&A session. We have a question from Louis Kolako. His question goes, do you take orders from the retailers and get distributors to fulfill it only? Or do distributors still buy from you and then deliver to retailers and make their margins at that point? So I'll direct this question at Mr. Bruno, who would ask a member of his team or himself to answer. Thank you.
I think I can take this one, Bruno, if you don't mind.
Okay, please.
And you can jump in anytime if you want to complement the answer. First of all, thank you for the question. I think it's a very important one because it's part of one of the main pillars that we have in our business that's route to market. We have yes, we go direct to the distributors, but we also go direct to some of our last mile delivery, let's call, and also direct to some what we call points of connection. So our route to market covers all the players in the market, depending on the situation and the region. We go more with the distributors that are the most important players that we have in our route to market, but we also go to direct to some of segments of the box direct to them, and also use the last mile delivery that we call book breakers here in Nigeria. So, but that's it depends on the region. Don't know, Bruno, if you want to complement something.
No, Hugo, you're right. We've also with the expansion of our bulk breakers, or what we call stockies, we get to the market.
Yeah. But the idea behind that is Nigeria is a very fragmented market. And the idea is to get closer to the consumer. So the whole idea behind our route to market expansion is to get closer to our final consumer. That's in the end the most important play in the whole chain, together with our customers, of course.
I got you more coffee.
But coffee you don't distribute yet. All right. So, Loretta, up to you.
Thank you so much for your answer. So we have a few other questions from anonymous attendees. And one of them says, what is the company's plan to realign its business model to adapt to this harsh operating environment and the COVID-19 related restrictions?
All right, very good one. Let me start and then I hand to Bruno. What we used to say that we have a plan, but we need the most important to keep planning. And then when the pandemic came, basically in March, we had a plan ready to have a great year in 2020. And we had to replan very quickly. And then we defined basically some pillars to operate in the year of the pandemic. First of all, it was the safety of our people, the most important one. The second is how to keep our business operating during the pandemic. The third pillar was how to support the communities in the tough times. And the fourth pillar was how to prepare for a brighter future. So basically what we did was to operate with we put an important efficient plan in place to capture the efficiency in the business. I have to say that we got very happy with the results of the year in a very tough year, keeping our structure, our jobs, paying our employees, growing in market share, and preparing for 2021 that, by the way, we're very proud of the results so far. That's it. Bruno, like to add something? Feel free, please.
No, Hugo, also one of our focus was and it still is controlling and making sure our cash flow and stringent protecting our cash flows, protecting our cash, making sure we have for enough cash for any headwinds. Thankfully, the pandemic, it appears that in Nigeria, is much lower than in other countries. So we have been able, and we believe that today we're at a stronger position than we were 12 months ago.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your response. The next question goes, at a time when businesses are challenged with FX scarcity, devaluation, commodity prices, inflation, and COVID-19, what mitigating strategies have been explored to drive and protect earnings?
I think I can take that.
Yeah,
Lack of dollars is one of our main challenges in the country. We work every day with the central bank and with our local banks to access and to purchase the most amount possible on dollars that are available. Obviously, the dollars, definitely there's a scarcity. We have met with the local government, with the central government, with the Ministry of Finance in working at alternatives. At the same time, we work in initiatives in how we can create our own dollars, increasing our export volumes, looking at what type of exports we can increase that we can generate dollars ourselves. But you're right, dollars is and continues to be on a daily basis one of our biggest challenges in the country. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your response. The next question is on technology. It says, when the increasing dependencies on technology, with the increasing dependencies on technology, what types of technology are you deploying to improve your processes and ultimately impact revenue?
Okay, let me start, and then Bruno can jump in. Basically, technology is fundamental for our business, and we have been using technology in all of the areas that we have. I'd like to highlight the possibility to have our eyes in the market using the image recognition, as I mentioned before, to improve our efficiency in the market, but also to have a better visibility of our execution in the market using this kind of image recognition. I can mention as well the possibility to use the technology to reach more consumers, so with the promotions and so on, so use the technology for that, to have more information about the consumers, and to deliver the solutions aligned with their needs. So collecting the right data and analyzing this data with a cell that we have here that started in Mexico some years ago. Now we have in South Africa, and they are bringing to Nigeria to have a better visibility about the data and what the consumers are asking for. Don't know, Bruno, if you'd like to complement the answer, please.
No, Hugo, I think you have covered the question.
It's just some of the examples that we have here. Thank you for the question.
Okay, so we have a question from Abiola. It goes, what is the strategy behind the launch of Trophy Stout? What opportunities do you expect?
Talk about Trophy Stout, right? Just
Yes.
to confirm the question. All right. Yes, we are. Yeah, thank you for the question. We are super happy and excited with the possibilities of Trophy Stout due to the amazing quality of the liquid and the product that we are delivering here. And again, it's an important segment, very strong in Nigeria. And humbly, we'd like to deliver a different option for the consumers. And with Trophy Stout, we believe we had achieved a good solution for that. So, and it's part, as I mentioned before, of our strategy to build our portfolio for the future. We have a strong portfolio now, but we need to understand the consumers' needs, what they are asking for, and to deliver the best solutions in terms of our portfolio. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, if I may add, Trophy Stout was launched in a segment, as you know, we were not in that segment. It was an opportunity that was for us to take, and is helping us increase our market share. Trophy Stout is growing above the average of our volumes. That is helping us with our revenue growth. Important that is also being sold at a higher price than our mainstream or core brands. So it's also helping us with our revenue per hectoliter and revenue growth increases.
Okay, thank you. Still on Trophy Stout, there's a question from Jibundu Emeka. It goes, how are Trophy Stout volumes, and did you implement a price increase on the brand too?
All right. So we launched Trophy Stout very recently, and we believe that the brand needs some time. Talking about pricing, during some time we need to keep the same price, but the price increase depends on the different kind of KPIs. So we need to understand the price relativity versus what we have in the market. We need to understand what's going on in terms of, as you know, inflation, but also the brand power. So because there is something that we call elasticity of the price, and then we need to find the best way to deliver the best balance between price and brand power and also volume. So I think that's it. But I have to say that the proposition between price for Trophy Stout and the quality of the product is amazing for our consumers. It's very powerful. Thank you for the question.
Great. Okay. Abiola has another question. I think he or she says, what amount of price increase has been introduced on the portfolio, and what brand is currently the best performing in terms of volumes in the markets? Can we expect more brands in the future?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me start again, and then Bruno can jump in. Very good question. As I mentioned before, the situation between price and volume, it's very sensitive because of the elasticity. What I can say is that we have now, due to our brand power of our brands here, the best balance ever between price and volume. So it's, if you see the numbers about net revenue, this is a combination, great combination between the fair price and strong volume growth. And we are living this good scenario now with the best balance between price and volume. And this is something that we improved a lot here in Nigeria since the end of 2019. As Bruno mentioned before, with discounts optimization, capturing what we call no working money, and then bringing the investments and releasing more money to invest in our brands and in our consumers to offer more promotions and so on. Talking about our brands and the growth of each of them, I have to say that the growth of our brands this year, mainly for all of them, is very aligned with our plan. Bruno, I highlighted here Budweiser, that's in a very good momentum now, but we are very happy with the growth of our core brands, Trophy, Hero, and of course, Trophy Stout as well. So all of them, they are in a good space right now, growing basically double digits in net revenue.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. We have a question from Olatunde. He goes, what is your policy on CSR as regards Southwest Nigeria? Do you only concentrate on the plant location?
Okay. So CSR in Southeast, we have 2 breweries there.
Southwest.
Southwest Elisha, so no, Southwest, Southeast, in West. Basically, what we have for CSR, we have stronger, of course, when you talk about the community and society, we have stronger plans in the states where we have the breweries, but we have important, just one CSR policy for the whole country, and also aligned with our global guidance. So it doesn't matter the region in this case. So of course, when we have a brewery, we are closer to the community. But when we talk about CSR, we don't have specifically a policy for each state. It's a policy for the whole country, as I mentioned before, based on some pillars, and very well defined and serving the whole country, and also aligned with our global guidance. I think this answers the question.
Thank you very much. An anonymous attendee asked, COVID-19 had an impact on most businesses in 2020. What are some of the challenges the company faced? What lessons were learned? Also, what is the company's plan for sustainability?
Bruno or me?
Okay.
It's also about sustainability, right?
Yes, please.
Bruno, would you like to go or?
Okay. Yes. Loretta, COVID-19, as you mentioned, was a challenge for everyone, not only us, but all the industries. Our first principle when we tackled the pandemic was the safety of our employees. That was our first challenge, making sure our employees remain safe and healthy. The second one, when we have the challenge, obviously we had some positive cases, and we remained positive, making sure that they were recovered. Thankfully, most of our employees are now COVID-free. We are launching, for example, this year, making a vaccination campaign, making sure the majority of our employees get vaccinated, bringing the vaccines to our sites to making sure all of the employees that are willing to get vaccinated. But clearly the challenges, another challenge was the restrictions, the lockdowns, some unable to move our products from state to state. But what we believe and what is important is that the actions that we took to safeguard our business, today we are in a stronger position than when we enter the pandemic. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Bruno. One question from an anonymous attendee. What are the company's current business plan and strategy to start generating cash flows as well as increase returns to the shareholders?
Okay, in terms of cash flow, we have positive cash flows. As mentioned in the presentation, we have a very intense focus in improving our working capital, big focus in reducing our receivables, our inventories, and generate positive cash flow. If you look at when compared to prior years, we almost double the cash flow from operating activities than when we look at 2020 or even 2019.
All right.
Okay. So we have a final question from Jennifer Chiwetelu. She says, please, can you state the percentage contributions of all product segments to the revenue growth in the period? Did the company push out more volumes this year? If yes, please state the percentage versus prior year. This is a question from Jennifer Chiwetelu.
Bruno would like to take this one.
I think if you look at, Jennifer, the amount of credit, if you mean of pushing volumes, if you look at the amount of credit, this when compared to last year, we're actually at the same levels. So at the same level as we closed in December of 2020. So this growth, you can say this growth that we have achieved, it at the same levels or lower than before. These growths have been we could say natural volume growth with the demand, trying to supply the strong demand that we see for our products.
Yeah, the volume growth is, we can say that's really good this year, very strong, very stable. And it's not, if I understood the question very well, it's not about selling, it's really about sell out. And why I'm saying that, it's because we have this visibility. It's an important KPI for us, not keeping push just the stocks, but how to is the rotation of our products with the consumers. And we are very happy with the performance of the brands this year. And the growth that you see when we announced this strong growth of net revenue is the best balance between, I believe it's the best balance in the last years between volume and price. Okay. Thank you for the question.
All right, so we have come to the end of our Q&A session. Thank you to our attendees for your questions, and to the MD and the Finance Director, Mr. Hugo Diaz-Rocha and Mr. Bruno Zambrano. Thank you for providing suitable responses to these questions. Because we're pressed for time, we won't be taking further questions. It has been quite an engaging session, from the presentation to the Q&A, and even the opening remarks by our divisional head listings business, Mr. Olumide. So we're happy that we've listened to this facts behind the figures presentation, and we hope we're able to take a few learnings from it. For further questions, we ask that you send an email to us via the Q&A box, or send further questions via the Q&A box, and they'll be sent to the International Breweries team. Thank you so much for joining us and for making this an engaging session. And I'd like to appreciate the International Breweries team for taking out time to join us for this facts behind the figures presentation. Thank you as we come to an end.
Loretta,
yes.
sorry. No,
Please
go ahead. No, just would like to mention that it's going to be a pleasure to get all the questions that we didn't have time, or maybe you have more questions than you asked for here. But it's going to be our pleasure to answer all of them afterwards, if you can have it by mail or something, just to open this.
Let's go for walkies.
Hugo, in addition, I would like to mention that we will organize an investor call after our year-end results are published. We will also have that opportunity for us to share with you our year-end results and answer more of your questions.
Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Bruno Zambrano and Mr. Hugo Diaz-Rocha, for your presentation and for answering the questions. We've come to the end of this facts behind the figures presentation. Thank you very much, attendees, and everyone who could take out the time. Enjoy the rest of your day.